This is a test of the Boundary Park alert system. Hello and welcome to the Boundary Park Alert System podcast. With me, Matt Dean. I'm joined as always by Andy Halliwell. Good morning, Andy.
Hello, Matthew. You all right?
Welcome to the podcast, Andy. It's nice, this, isn't it?
I can get used to this. Just getting up on a Sunday morning, basking in the warm glow of another victory, feeling like the stars are aligning. This is good, isn't it? We have waited a long time for a season like this. The last time I felt anywhere near like this was that season when Lee Johnson had us bobbing around the playoffs in League One. But it was very, very fleeting, wasn't it? Yeah. It was only for maybe a month or so you felt like that. This feels a whole lot different. A bit like Shez's teams who would get, who were pushing the playoffs. So and that is, 16, 17 years ago.
And when Johnson was in, it was a case of you got this promising young manager with you just knew he was going to jump ship at some point. Like, there wasn't that stability and wanting to stick around. Whereas at the minute, it feels like a place that people want to be at. So, yeah, it's a great feeling. Before we introduce the fan guest, it was so nice yesterday. I went to the match. Obviously, I had my scarf on, and I went into town afterwards because I was doing a bit of work in. There was a glow bus. People might have seen it in town, big American bus, and I was doing a bit of work yesterday, knocking about with a microphone around there. And because I had my scarf on, people were coming up to me and asking me, how did Latics get on? 1-4-0, mate. And it was so nice to be able to just say it. Yeah. Oh, and they were like, oh, brilliant. How are they doing? 4th in the league. Oh, brilliant. And just that, because a lot of people don't even know how Latics are getting on these days because it's not on the radar. It's not mainstream news like it used to be back in the day when it'd be on the, in the papers and the Chronicle and stuff like that. And everyone kind of, because it was big news. And yeah, it's like, yeah, we're on our way back now. It's happening slowly but surely. It's happening. So, anyway, yeah, so we got a fan guest, a late substitute off the bench coming in, hopefully making an impact sub, much in the same way as Josh Kay did yesterday when he came off the bench. You've done it, you've been on before, so we don't need to do all that intro. Ryan T. Williams, aka Razza _699, which is not quite as, it doesn't reel off the tongue as easily as Ryan, so I'll just call you Ryan. How are you, Ryan?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. As you said, it's nice to just be. I think last time I come on the podcast was after a drab 0-0 draw with Dorking under Unsworth. So, it's nice to come on and actually talk about good things today.
So that would have been last season at home, wouldn't it? The home game in the blazing sun.
Yeah. Yeah, because my kids...
Dorking had a perfectly good goal disallowed.
Yeah, because my kids were mascot because we picked that game because we thought a nice tonking, good atmosphere in the sun. And, it just was anything but.
Yeah, well... We don't need real sunshine. We just need metaphorical sunshine, don't we? And at the minute, the metaphorical sun is shining. Did you watch? What was your coverage of the game yesterday, Andy?
I listened to it. I listened to Roy's commentary. So I caught the whole game. It sounded good, didn't it? It sounded good, from the commentary. I've seen the goals. We looked nice and comfortable, didn't we, throughout the whole game? Nice to see James Norwood hitting his straps as well. So, yeah, it was a good, solid performance. Sounded like everybody put it in. Caprice sounded like he had a good game. Will Sutton came in and sounded like he contributed as well. So all is good. All is good, isn't it?
It is. Ryan, it was one of those games where I turned around to Adam, who I stand next to, and said, isn't it nice to have not been stressed at any point during that game? Comfortable was the word, Andy. It was such a competent and professional performance. I still felt like we had gears to go through. Like we turned it on a bit in the second half, where we had 3 or 4 chances. Didn't manage to put them in, but played some really, really good stuff. Went through the gears. It could have ended up 5, 6, 7 easily, but. It was just like you said. Caprice was outstanding yesterday. I was disappointed with Tamworth because I thought that they were going to put a bit more of a fight. They didn't really give us too much to worry about. Having said that, we just brushed them aside and did it. Yeah.
I think that was it with Tom. I think the fact that they benched their long thrower, I think we got in their heads because I think they knew we had Monte. I think they thought we might have played Fondop. I think they knew from the off, throwing this long ball out was not going to work. So they tried to play us and they just didn't get in. Like you say, they just never turned up. And like Sutton had a really good game, but I was watching it closely. If a City fan or a Chelsea fan, whoever watched us, they won't see any difference. But watching Klukas drop back every time Sutton got forward was just beautiful to watch. Like, we've not had that under anyone because Sheringham was always bombing forward. Like, Shelton wouldn't offer. And then because it allowed Sutton and Ogle to do their thing. And then, Klukas was just dropping in. He reminded me of that. You know, that when you're playing five-a-side and someone's been an ex-pro, like Paul Scholes rocks up at 43 on a 5. That's how Klukas is playing at the moment. Or he did yesterday. It just looked a cut above. Like, didn't break stride.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. I mean, it's a huge difference in ability to the play and experience to the players that we've had in that position before. And I really loved like the fact that Regan. I keep getting Regan and Raglan. It's just messing with me head. Raglan would be missing.
It's like Maidstone and Maidenhead.
I know. It's just I know. Exactly. So Raglan was missing yesterday, and he's been absolutely rock solid. And but Ogle went into the middle and played as the central player in his position, and Sutton played out on the right hand side where Ogle would usually play. And both, but it didn't affect Ogle's game insofar as he would get the ball and he would run with it like he does from the right, but he'd just do it through the middle of the park. He was just running. We had centre halves on the ball. All three of our centre halves wanted to get on the ball and drive forward with it, and it's so great to see because obviously, like you said, Ryan, someone like Klukas covers, but then the rest of the team get forward, and so we're overloading teams in the top end of the pitch. When for so long it was the opposite, wasn't it? We had like one up front, and we were moaning about being isolated. It was great yesterday, and look, we're going to face much tougher teams than Tamworth this season. But it was such a professional performance. It was just great.
I'm a big Fondop fan. I love what he's doing. Like I've got the joke on Twitter. My dog's got a Fondop shirt and that. But yesterday, what Stones provided up top, a half-fit Stones. It just changed. The ball was sticking up there. It was staying. It allowed Norwood just to find that space. Now, I watched the clip this morning someone put on of their first goal, and I think Lundstrom puts it through to Stones. Stones just puts it. Norwood was in so much more space than I realised when watching it back. And their manager just like he just goes like that. Their manager as if to say, "How was James Norwood in all day?" It's just the movement was just amazing to see. And I think when he's playing with like a Stones character, it's just letting him goal hang essentially. It's lethal.
Seeing as we're on this subject matter now of Fondop, Stones, Norwood, and strikers, should we just go over this topic again and elaborate on it? I've been getting a bit of stick in the When the Blues messaging boards for basically sticking by Norwood and saying that he should start and Fondop should be benched. And there's a lot of people that are Fondop fans and think that he should start. Well, I mean, yesterday to me is tacit proof that James Norwood is our most prolific, cutthroat, quality striker. But you've got to get the ball to him in the box. And if you get the ball to him in and around that 18-yard box, 9 times out of 10, it's going in the net. And if we Fondop, that might be 6 out of 10 or 5 out of 10. He's just a cut above. The problem with James Norwood is you've got to give him service because he doesn't, unlike Fondop, who will chase and harry and drop back and possibly affect the game more outside of the penalty box. James Norwood doesn't do an enormous amount other than around that 18-yard box. But you've got to play to his strengths because he'll put them away. And I thought yesterday is proof, really, that you've got to get Norwood firing. Now, I concede that he hasn't been for various reasons. And I also concede that he's a difficult manage. He is a spiky character who comes with difficulty in managing him. But yeah, you've got the interview lined up, and maybe let's have a listen to what he had to say.
James, a perfect hat trick. How did that feel?
Was it a perfect hat trick?
It was perfect.
We'll start this again, but I didn't.
It was left, right, left. Your first one was left foot, right? Yeah, perfect hat-trick.
Yeah, obviously didn't know that. Just really happy to get chances. We played really well. We created chances, and I love to be inside the 6-yard box, in and around the penalty spot. And it just fell to me. Obviously, I missed a couple of chances in the second half with a good save and the tip from the keeper. But overall, it was a pleasing performance from everybody.
Just how pleasing was it to be part of such a complete team performance?
Yeah, obviously we still got things to work on at 3-0. We were a little bit complacent, but we came in and were self-aware enough to know that. So we tried to put that right in the second half. Shows how we've grown as a team, that we're coming in at 3-0 and going, do you know what, we can be better. But overall, we had to shift things around, losing Rags yesterday and things like that. Regan stepped in, did unbelievably. And just pleasing really that we're creating chances, getting in the right areas, and obviously that I'm in the position to put them away this week.
You mentioned the injury to Rags. With Regan coming in, does that just show the versatility and the difference of the squad this season?
I think so, yeah. I think we've got players that can play multiple positions and be just as good in them. So obviously a massive strength of ours, the squad depth in itself, but then when lads can play 2-3 different positions, it just gives us so much sort of confidence that no matter who plays there, they can step in and fill the shoes.
You started up front with Josh. How pleasing was it to be playing with him once again?
Yeah, obviously since he came back in, we've had a laugh and just said, if we get the opportunity to play together, let's just carry on where we left off. And first goal, he tackles someone, he gives me an assist from 6 yards. So if he keeps doing that, I'll be happy.
You got injured on the first day of pre-season. Do you now feel like you're firing on all cylinders now?
I'm getting there. I think Tranmere was my first start in a long time. Looked like I won a competition to play against Barnet, and then obviously turned up again this week. So it's a little bit inconsistent for myself at the minute, but hopefully I can put some starts together and you can see what I can really do when balls start coming in the box.
Sam Klukas slotted into the midfield today. You've played with him obviously previously. How do you feel playing with him again?
Yeah, I love playing with him. He's a really intelligent footballer. He's played at a very, very good level. So I feel like mentally we're on the same wavelength, and I can move where I know he's going to put it, and he's got the ability to play the ball.
Just finally, 4th in the league, 4 points off the top. Do you think we're now starting to see the potential of the side?
I wouldn't go as far to say that because, we only look at the one game ahead. It's so cliche to say that you'd like to say, yeah, we've lost 2 games and we've put these amount of wins together, but we haven't looked at the league. We're not focusing on where we are in the league. We're just focusing on Rochdale Saturday and trying to get 3 points.
Well done today.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, very nice to hear from James Norwood, actually, because obviously, despite Dave's best efforts, he won't come on the podcast or the phone in. And he doesn't do many interviews. So it was nice to hear from him.
That interview was eye-opening for me. He whether he don't like being or whatever, but he humanized him almost. Like he come across as like, you're not an idiot. And it's obviously I have always thought from day one it's been an on-field persona, this thing he's got, because if you look at the photography pictures after he is smiling with the other players when they're hugging him and that, but there's just something this cold, and I still think he knows. I reckon if we were top of the league and he was scoring the winner, we might see a fist pump, because I don't think he likes celebrating scoring a hat-trick 4th place against Tamworth. I just think he's got higher expectations than that. And that might be me being a bit naive, and I do hope that once things are flying and if he's still with us in League 2, he may well fall in love with us. But I just think big hats off to Mickey Mellon, the way he's got through this last few weeks. It's been a hell of a piece of coaching, that everything. And all that, the Nando's gate and all that. When Mellon come out and said, I just didn't pick him, I don't know whether they'd had different chats internally and he was just being a bit obnoxious with the interviewer, or he genuinely, that's how he's managed it. But I don't know. But either way, I don't think many other managers would have got Norwood through this.
I think he definitely, I'm not privy to massive amounts of private information. We're not. We on the podcast, people sometimes think we are, but we're not. But I do know that he is a difficult character to manage, and there is an air of arrogance about him, and he hasn't behaved impeccably in his time. There was that time when he shoots off. He's still banned from driving. He had a 40-month ban from driving from his second drink driving charge. He's not an untroubled character, right? Let's just put it that way. And he shoots off in a taxi because he can't drive straight after the game. And so when he did that last season, he got a bit sticky. Obviously, hung around yesterday. He is a difficult manage. But I love a striker with arrogance. I want a striker to be arrogant. It's that role that they play, show a bit of arrogance and demand it and just have confidence in themselves. So I warm to it, whether he celebrates or he doesn't, whether he wears a Barnsley kit or an Oldham kit. I couldn't give a monkey so long as he's doing what he did yesterday. But I concede he hasn't been always, and the injury did put him back, and he has been a difficult manager. And like you say, Ryan, we called it out a few weeks ago. Is not that we knew, but just that we felt that Mickey was having a battle with him to get his head in the right place. And I think it's been a superb bit of man management, like you say, not necessarily coaching maybe, but the man management bit of it has been exceptional, because not picking him for that game before Tranmere was just, it looked cute to me. He was getting him fired up for Tranmere. He felt we could beat the team we're playing. It was Dagenham, whoever we're playing. We felt we could beat him anyway. So he was going to go without him and try and get in his head, and that has worked. And so, fair play to everybody. Fair play to James Norwood as well for knuckling down. I hope we can keep him as focused as he is now for a long time, because his contract is up at the end of the season. I think we've got an option, but I'm not sure we'd take it today. Because of the baggage that comes with it. But yeah, I'm a big fan, and this is the point I'm making. Mike Fondop's been exceptional this season. You cannot knock the boy, and everyone loves him as a character and an individual. I'm a big Mike Fondop fan. I'm not saying I don't like him. I do, but he's not as good as James Norwood. End of story for me. So for me, if we've got Stones and Norwood playing together, that's what I'd be starting with.
Fondop came on as a sub today, did really well when he came on, replaced Stones. What I thought, I've got a couple of things here that I want to read, but Steve Duncan, who actually runs Or When the Blues actually for him.
He does, yeah.
He said Norwood and Stones have started together 5 times. In those games, Norwood has scored 6 and Stones 3. And Latics' record is 1-4, lost 1. If taking into account the games we played for us last season. What I was thinking about Stones yesterday, as I was watching him play, was he really is a combination of everything that we've got. He runs the back line like Drummond does. He keeps them busy. His pace, his movement, he's all over the place. He's got the physicality of Fondop, and he's got the kind of the arrogance. He got that bit of that arrogance about him that Norwood has, and the intelligence that Norwood has got. He really is. Like if you merge the strikers that we've got together and put them together, he's them in one package. He's a really, really good young footballer, especially at this level.
He's got a touch on him as well. That the ball.
But that's it. He's a combination. He's a level above, and he's exactly what we needed. And because, like you say, once you bring Drummond on, you've got some of that. Once you bring Fondop on, you've got some of that. But when you've got Stones on the pitch, you've got a bit of everything. And he did really, really well yesterday. The first goal was actually Conlon who made the tackle. He was pressing up on the defenders because they made a bit of a balls of it, give the ball away. Conlon pushed on, Kitchen, and then Stones pulled it back for Norwood. But yeah, I mean, it's a good signing, and obviously the club have known that Stones complements Norwood. They've seen it. We've seen it already, and we know he's the kind of player that we want in the team. And yeah, Mickey Mellon's done a great job of bringing that together. So we just need to keep him for the season, really, don't we, Stones? I think that'll be massive if we can do.
Yeah. One of the other things in that interview that he gave, which I think is kind of revealing as well, is a little bit in there, is he says that it's great to have Klukas in the middle of the park because he can make a run and know that he'll find him. Now, I've said this before. When James Norwood was up front with a midfield of Sheeran and Shelton behind him, but this is a really sage sort of observation, and we made it last season and throughout. Is that he would be throwing his arms in the air, having a tantrum because he wasn't getting the ball, because he just literally wasn't being. He weren't finding him when we should have done.
He was sold a dud, Andy, wasn't he, when he was brought in by Unsworth? I think. Yeah, he came in and he was like, "Hang on a minute," he sent that message, "Let's go and win the league," and then he realised the team he were playing with. He's like, "Oh Jesus!"
But I even noticed yesterday when we were coming back, they didn't have many chances. Don't get me wrong, but when Tamworth had a couple of free kicks first half, Norwood came back. And he was on Monty, he was on Ogle, he was barking orders to everyone and organising. And and then he won head on one of them. And I said to him, he's a different guy. Like, this guy believes in this now. And even Fondop misplaced an header when he come on just before Norwood went off, and Norwood like clapped him like a few weeks ago. That'd have been like kid hands all over the shop. So
and when he in the second half, Ryan, when he had the he played a 1-2 with Fondop, and he overhit the pass to him, and he put his head in his hands, didn't he? And he was like, oh. Because he knew it was a poor ball, and he apologised to Fondop because he should have played Fondop back in. Fondop probably would have scored.
God's number 9 scores all the time. He is divine.
He's God's number 9.
Dave, do you fancy some GN9 merch?
Yes, please.
Go to the shop on our website, weareoldham.co.uk.
God's number 9 scores all the time. He is divine.
He's God's number 9.
We've got t-shirts. We've got mugs.
He's God's number 9. God's number 9.
And so absolutely, his body language, his whole attitude seems to be different. And look, like you've said, Andy, we need him. And he mentioned I don't know if there's another clip knocking about of him saying about getting back to full fitness and stuff, and he's getting there. Having missed that full pre-season we've said on this podcast that we need to give him a bit of time to get back up to speed. But it does make his life easier when he's got better players playing around him. And this squad now, like we hoped at the start of the season, would get better, and it is getting better.
Let me give you a stat, right? So we can do form over any period, whatever last few games you want to look at. But I'm going to give you the form table over the last 10, right? Last 10 games form table. Top of the league, joint top of the league over the last 10 is Forest Green and Latics. Played 10, won 7, drawn 2, lost 1. They've scored 1 more goal than us. In fact, there are only 4 teams that have amassed over 20 points in that 10-game period, so 2 points plus a game, and they are Forest Green, Latics, Barnet, and York, the top 4, right? So the top 4 look like they're the ones that are potentially going to sort of pull away a little bit from the rest. But the interesting thing is, if you look at the average points per game of the opponents of those 4 teams over that 10-game series, Latics have had the harder 10 games. So York City have played teams that have amassed 1.26 points per game. Forest Green Barnet 1.31, Forest Green 1.33, Latics 1.44. I think this is a good sign. I think we're picking up points, and we picked up more points than Barnet and York of the last 10, and we've played more difficult opposition. So you look at some, like the likes of York. Actually, York have had a reasonably easy run in terms of the opposition they've faced, and they come up against Forest Green yesterday and get beat. So I think the underlying sort of numbers, all that XG versus, XGA, again, we're always in that top quadrant. I think we're looking good. And if we can put a little run together on over the next month or so, we could find ourselves in a very, very, very good position to win the league.
I think someone pointed out this morning on Twitter, I saw as well, Khan, Hammond, Dolan to come back if is that till January his loan anyway? Injury Charlesley. When these Christmas kicks in, all these cancel, the snow's coming already, isn't it, they reckon? When that really kicks in, January, February, our squad's going to come into its own then, it really is. We're going to be playing depleted squads. And I think Frank and the Rothwells are one of them that if this momentum keeps going and we're second, there'll be more additions in January because they'll start getting giddy then. They'll start and we'll have more Clucasses in. We'll have it's exciting.
Well,
there's a rumour Ryan Kent is training with, isn't there?
Yeah. What was he on? 40 grand a week at Fenerbahce or something?
Yeah.
Well, look, we in order to guarantee promotion, we need to win the league. So that as long as we're in with a chance of that, then I think the board will do whatever they can. Because ultimately, if you've got a squad then and a team that misses out, by the skin of its teeth this season, it's ready to go for next season to do the same thing next season. So that's where we're at. We need to get out of this bloody division as soon as possible. But you've got to absolutely give huge credit to everyone. It's the difference between the team this season and the squad this season to last season is just absolutely ginormous.
I think as what you've said it before, Matt, you can see how the likes of Wrexham and Stockport have flown up the leagues because with this core we've got now, is only going to get better, and we're only going to add better players. We could fly up again if whether it's next year or the year after. So, and I think we scared Tamworth yesterday because I don't think they knew how to set up against us. How do you set up when you've got Manny Monty, you've got Regan Ogle playing like that, and you've got? I just don't think they knew. They didn't come with any kind of plan. It was, and then going back to your point before, Andy, about how you'd class James Norwood as management, but then when you come to the coaching side, and you've been saying it for weeks, Josh Lundstrom, get that contract out, get it signed because that's that's coaching beyond belief. He is a different player this season.
Well, we don't know what options we've got on every player. So, sometimes the options are announced and sometimes they're not. So, again, I don't know this, but it would be nice to think that we have an option on Lundstrom because if we don't, we definitely need to get him signed up because he's definitely an asset, a young player who's got a resale value. But yeah, no, it's good. I'll tell you what, also was quite good to see yesterday. And probably, to be fair, it might have been affected by the fact there's an international break in the Premier League, but the attendance was up by a few hundred, wasn't it? So 6-3 yesterday. So that was good to see. So we can get a bit of momentum going. We start winning. With a bit of luck, we have a little cup run somewhere as well.
I was very
draw soon.
I was very kindly bought lunch on Friday by Andy Emery, so I thank him for that. He listens to the podcast. He came up to Oldham. He lives down south. He's been on the pod and phoned him before, but he was chatting to me. He's a self-proclaimed geek, and he loves a spreadsheet. So he's been doing a bit of working out himself, and he said that teams that get promoted from this division, you have to be averaging 2 points a game. No teams that haven't been averaging that don't get promoted. So he said ahead of yesterday's game against Tamworth, we were 3 straight wins away from getting to that point in this season. So if we beat Tamworth, Rochdale, and Boston, that'll take us up to the 2 points a game average, and then we're credibly in a position then to be winning the league or at least getting promotion. So it's the stars are aligning. We are entitled to be getting a bit giddy at this stage. If we beat Rochdale on Saturday, that'll put a 7-point gap. I mean, there'll be proper chance of mind the gap on Saturday because there'll be 7 points between us and them. And
you see Liam Hogan's going down a storm there. If you saw that.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll play against us, and Josh Stones will run him absolutely ragged.
Yeah.
But it could be a good game. I mean, I watched some of Rochdale v Southend on the telly the other week, and they like to get it forward. Rochdale, they're not. They play it along the ground. They get it wide. They get it into wide areas like we do. So it could be an interesting battle. It was interesting what you said there, Ryan, about our team. With the way that the back three play and they push up high, and the bodies that we get forward. So we're only going to get caught over the top most often than not. We're not, even when we played the likes of Gateshead and Forest Green, and I would suggest that we've improved since then as well. Teams aren't able to play through us the way that they used to in the past couple of seasons. They're not able to play over the top because our defenders read it really well, and they get back and they get headers and the keepers come in. We are a very difficult team to play against. It is a conundrum for the opposition as to how they're going to play against us, and we're playing with so much confidence now that we're doing what we wanted us to do, which is not to think too much about the opposition, which we did last week, I think, probably arguably at Barnet, didn't we? But certainly at home, it's kind of like you can deal with us. You know what I mean?
I felt like yesterday that was the first time at home where a team's come and gone, shit, this is, I'm sorry for swearing, but this is Boundary Park, this is Oldham Athletic, what the hell do we do? And too many times since we've been in the conference, smaller, without being disrespectful, smaller teams are rocking up their cup final, doing us over, controlling play. There was a real turning point yesterday. And I said to my dad before the game, I just want a game where it's not the 90th minute and I'm not biting my nails. One long throw is going to undo it all. And then when we were 3-0 up within that, I went, wow, it's happening, isn't it? We're actually having one of them games where there is no stress and we're just doing what's been asked.
Who came up? Tamworth, Braintree. Who's the other one?
Tamworth, Braintree, Boston. So we played the two of those at home already.
Braintree and Tamworth. It's 7-0 in aggregate in our favour. We've got Boston, who
and Yeovil.
That's right, Yeovil. We beat Yeovil. We beat Yeovil, didn't we, as well? They came up 2-0, didn't we? So that's 9-0 on aggregate against the newly promoted teams. We're playing Boston, and look, if we play anything like we did yesterday against Boston on a Tuesday night, we're going to give them a right whooping. So, and that's the way it should be. That for the budget that we've got and all that and the manager we've got and the talent that we've got now, it's the way it should be. And people were asking me yesterday, or through the week, how do you think we'll get on Saturday? I thought, we'll win. I think it'll be tough, but we'll win. It wasn't tough. It was a walk in the park. But the players earned that right, though. Again, they earned the right to play and they win the battles and I can't fault them at all. I can't fault them. They've been brilliant this season and they're getting better. That's the thing. There's a few things that have come up on Twitter and stuff, and people, saying who do we fancy now? No, I genuinely do fancy us now because I think we're getting better. With this team hasn't peaked yet this season, so why not?
I just want to point out, I think there's been at least the last 4 home games, the opposition keeper has dropped a clanger against us. And they all, because people, when they're having a digs at Hudson, I just think, have you seen some of the dross keepers in this league? Like, God. Yeah. But
Norwood for his headed goal yesterday.
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly. He took a leaf out of Fondop's book of don't expect the keeper to catch it and challenge for everything. And it was a good header. And that was a good move as well. That move came from, it was a ball from the left, I think possibly Kitchen, who played it. And Klukas had the wherewithal just to dummy it. And it ball weighed its way out onto the right, and then Caprice got it, put a peach of a ball in, and the header was a really good goal.
When it comes back to the Boundary Park Fortress, just now we've got so many players, your Montes, your Klukas, you're not with the mindset monsters now of we're better than this. So they're not even a wobble now when these teams come to Boundary Park, and that's, I hope, but that's hopefully what it seems to be changing now.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday being evidence.
I was getting
I
was getting some stick on Owen the Blues in the week for calling Tamworth a bus stop. Oh, it's disrespectful. I don't like it. And you're like, well, you can, if it's said with disdain and disrespect, I agree. I mean, I was doing it slightly in jest, but the element of it, of the bit that you just referred to, Ryan, is we're Oldham Athletic in Division 5. We have to go into games, I think, with the James Norwood spirit sometimes of like, we are absolutely massive for this division. We should be trying to wipe some of these small teams, out of the game early on, because we're big. We're a big club with a big budget and good players. And I don't think there's anything wrong with a little bit of self-confidence. And I want to see that swagger.
Okay. I think that's okay now, Andy, with the squad that we've got and the manager we've got. And everything else, and the players that we've got. I think over the last couple of seasons, we had to be a bit humble as to where we were, because just because our stadium's bigger and we've got a history, we were where we were for a reason, and we didn't have anything to back up that swagger. Whereas now we do, and that like you said, Ryan, we should intimidate teams that come to Boundary Park. Boston should be shitting their pants for Tuesday night, because they should expect a team where they are in the league, newly promoted, to be getting a tonking against our lads, and I'm sure we will, off the back of going to Rochdale and taking all 3 points there.
Well, I hope that game's on, because if you've seen, the weather's due to turn this week and get towards freezing, isn't it? So I've got tickets. I'm coming up with my lads. So I don't want to get got to set off at like 7 o'clock in the morning because it's a 12:30 kickoff. I hope I don't get all the way up to Scotland and find out it's called off. It'd be gutted.
We need to be. This needs to be. Come on, it's non-league. Bit of snow, bit of cold. Come on. Lancashire Derby, get it bloody up there. You get them playing in the skates if they have to. Let's just get that game on there and get it played.
Did either, just to change the subject slightly, did either of you two boys go in the fan bar yesterday after its makeover?
No. I didn't get there until like 2 to 3 or something. Didn't have time, and then I had to leave straight after. But it looks smart in the pictures, doesn't it?
Looks great, yeah. And I've had my family go in there every game normally. In fact, they didn't yesterday, but normally they go in, and they said, that it's constantly improving, and they're getting more people through, and they're trying to get through the queues a bit faster. So constant incremental improvements off the pitch are great to see as well. I guess Do you want to talk about the no cash card thing, Matt?
Yeah, you know what? Football sometimes gives you the opportunity to talk about things that are in, the broader sense of things. And cashless societies, it's not a good thing for people, right? It affects poorer people, generally speaking, and I don't like it. That's my personal opinion. I understand from a business point of view why it appeals to businesses and why it appeals to Latics. I get that, and I don't necessarily. All right, the club shop and all that. In the minute you can use cash in, but if it keeps going the way it's going, soon you won't be able to use cash in that either, because this is the way it happens. I think sometimes you've got to kick back at things, and I'm not a fan of cashless societies. So when it comes into football, although I understand it from the club's point of view, it does alienate some fans. Some fans like to use cash. Cash is a legitimate way of legitimate currency, and you should be able to use it. One cash turnstile should be an option. At least people who are on a budget often find cash is the best way to manage that budget. And so there's different reasons. It's not just it's easier. It's easier, just use your card or your phone. Well, everyone's got a card or a phone. Do you know what I mean? People, you have to look at making it accessible for everybody, and so I'm a little bit disappointed. But like I said, I understand why the club are going down that road. But if everybody just does something because it's more convenient, that it's not necessarily the right thing to do in the big picture. And sort of seen on Twitter, other people don't care. So, well, what does it matter? Whatever. But that's my take on it.
Yeah, you raise some legitimate points. I guess my view is you can, like you've said, like you concede, if it makes it easier for the company, the limited company, to process its revenue and not have to handle cash and not be open to maybe the loss of money or fraud or just the counting of it and the banking of it, and it makes it more efficient, then it can only help the football club operate. And so therefore, if the club would like me, because I carry cash, but I'm very prepared to use my card equally. It's kind of no skin off my nose. But if the club would like me to use card, then I'll use card. I guess that's how I look at it, is I'm happy to support the club however I can. If there is a genuine concern where an individual doesn't have a bank card or a phone with a bank card on it, and they can only use cash, then I'm sure the club would accommodate them. But if fans can do their best to use card, then it's going to help everybody in the long run. So
the thing is, this is not a conspiracy theory. But American card companies have been pushing for people to go cashless and use cards for every transaction because it's in their best interests. I mean, that's just a simple MasterCard, Visa. That they make money off you using their system. So it's. Yeah, we're all encouraged to do this because it's so much more convenient for everybody else. But there's follow the money, follow people who benefit from it. And are we going to be? We're not at a cashless society yet, so it's like, well, what are you moaning about? But there are people within, there are people who would love us to be in that situation, and I can't give change to the person outside Aldi I can't expect them to have a card machine, can I? And things like that. Do you know what I mean? So I'm always thinking a little bit further ahead, me. And so when I see these things coming in, it's not about the short-term benefits to the club, which is fine. I accept that. But it's just an opportunity to raise that point that cashless societies will hugely benefit the people that control capital, and will massively disaffect those people who don't have very much, the haves and the have-nots. So it's just an opportunity to raise that, really, I think.
Yeah,
being a hippie and all that, just
we did. See, we could do with Dave on here just to give us the conservative right wing view, couldn't we?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only reason that Dave uses cash is occasionally he does this with pound notes into poor people's faces. Flick it loads of money. That's what he's been doing in Twickenham. He's been going around with burning £10 notes and £20 notes in front of beggars with his friends from Eton. So.
I might go and do it with him.
Yeah, don't go down. Don't join the dark side, Ryan. Don't join the dark side. So anyway, you need to get going early, don't you? Shall we do Latics Mind? Right, here you go. Good luck, Ryan.
Who sealed Latics' win with the decisive second goal versus Southampton in the Littlewoods Cup quarter-final replay in 1990?
Gunnar Haller.
Wrong. It was Mike Milligan. Who was sent off in a 1-1 home draw versus Lincoln City in November 2018?
Seb Hines.
Ishmael Miller. Newish grounds. Who scored Latics' first ever goal at Shrewsbury's New Meadow?
Chris Porter.
Danny Philliskirk. Who was Paul Dickoff's first managerial league defeat against?
Jesus. Leighton Orient.
Peterborough United. Debut goal scorers. Two strikers both scored on their debuts versus Yeovil on the opening day of 2005-06. Can you name one of them?
Ruben Reid.
Chris Porter or Paul Warne? Who is Latics' record appearance holder?
Roger Palmer.
Ian Wood. Which former Manchester United striker had a brief loan spell with Latics in early 2009?
America Cooper.
Daniel Nardiello.
Oh.
Newish grounds. Who scored Latics' first ever goal at St Mary's, Southampton?
Andy Ritchie.
Dean Furman. Who scored on his second debut for Latics on the opening day of 2000-2001?
Mark Hallett.
Neil Adams. Who was Latics' first national... I've started so finish. Who was Latics' first National League away win against in 22-23?
Oh, my God. Away. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, it's gone. No. I'm going to kick myself.
You giving up?
Oxford. No.
Dorking Wanderers 5-1.
Nearly said Dorking. Yeah.
You scored a grand total of none.
Yes.
But you didn't have any passes, Matt, so you'll be pleased that you're not going to be put under this.
Well, I actually got two this week. I got the Chris Porter one for the debut goals against Yeovil, and I got Dorking at the end there then. So
did you not get Mike Milligan against Southampton?
No, I couldn't think. No.
You know what? I'd rather get 0 points on Latics Mind than Oldham get 3. But,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
exactly.
I know, but you can see what you were doing there. You just kind of like, because you don't know, like most of us don't know. We just think, right, who's a sort of rough player from that era? And that I'll go with that one.
The Infirm St Mary's one surprised me. I was thinking much older St Mary's.
Well, when we played Southampton in the top division, and then they were at the Dell, so they didn't move to St Mary's until a few years later, and then we didn't play them until they came down to the third division or League One.
Remember,
and then
was that the year he trounced us with like 7-0 or something daft?
So it's 6 odd at Boundary, 6-2 at Boundary Park, was it, or something? 6-0 at Boundary Park. 6-0 at Boundary Park. Yeah. That was under Dickoff. That was when that was the game when Dickoff started to panic. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for taking part. Anyway, got to be in it to win it.
Yeah, I tell you just on the last thing that he said, weird feeling is happiness, isn't it? We were 4-0 up yesterday. They took Norwood off, and there was a guy sat 2 behind me going, he went, why are you taking bloody no? Going mad. And someone said to me, went, we're 4-0 up. Shut up. Like, it was just like, nobody knows what to do with themselves now. It's just like...
Yeah, getting over that impulse to just shout and mourn. I tell you what, I was absolutely delighted for Kay yesterday. Yeah, that goal he scored was absolutely brilliant. It's his left foot as well. I think he's right-footed, but his reaction afterwards was great. He was so happy to have put that in, and the players were really happy for him because he's one of these players who, again, he's not found his feet yet at Latics. He's not had the chance to get into stride. He's been injured, and he's been playing bit parts. And people write players off because they come on. They come on as a sub and they don't have a massive impact on the game. Oh, well, he's no good. You've got to give these lads time. Like,
did we play at home pre-season? Was it Leighton Orient? Was it?
No, played Shrewsbury, Stockport, and Lincoln. Didn't we?
Lincoln, it was. He played that. I remember watching that game, and he looked good. Got like he had something about him. So yeah.
Speaking of Leighton Orient, though, have you got your tickets for the FA Cup game? Are you coming down for that?
Yes, I've managed to find via a rail card and via a stop off at Crewe and a quite lengthy journey to London. I've managed to get a £37 return.
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, it's plenty of but Crewe's a pub at the station, isn't there? So.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm coming down. Managed to get a ticket and a train for £47. So that's good.
Yeah, my train up to Rochdale next week's a lot different than that.
Yeah. No, it's not cheap travelling by train, is it? But I prefer away days by train personally. That's my preference. But
yeah, but if you think about it now, we got Rochdale away, Leighton Orient away in the cup. There's some really good games coming up in there, and then honing in on that York game on Boxing Day as well.
I can't wait for that. I can't wait
for that. Belting fixtures on the way.
Did you see any of them on last night? Did you watch them or? York?
No, I didn't see it.
It was quite interesting that they're all about the flanks, like them two rapid wingers they've got. So if we can cut that out with Monty and whoever's back, I think we'll stand a chance, and then make sure we pile the middle. So yeah.
It's got everything lined up to we've had there's been some good Boxing Day games over the years, like some big occasions, and like this is lining up for being one of those. I think I can't wait. I'm going to Hartlepool on New Year's Day as well, so I'm looking forward to that one. But this month, though, I mean, like November, it started with Tranmere, then we got the point at Barnet, and now we've got the 4-0 win against Tamworth. Next week we've got Rochdale and Boston, and then we finish the month with Leighton Orient. Could potentially see us in the third round of the cup. Could see us taking, or going through the month undefeated, only dropping points at. I've just got it at Barnet because I've got it in my head. We're just going to win next week. I will not even entertain the thought of not beating Rochdale at Rochdale. It's what we do generally, isn't it? We're going to go there. We're going to make loads of noise and we're going to beat them. And that's it. What have it any other way? Andy's coming up from London. Do the business. And I hope it is really cold and there's snow in the air and it's bitter and. Yeah, and Rochdale fans all skulk off after the game with their heads down, and we all enjoy an afternoon mocking them in Rochdale. I mean, that's what it's all about. They've been doing all right, but they seem to just be petering off a little bit, don't they? And they're like Forest Green are just picking up, like you said, Andy, before the 10 points. There's a long way to go in this season yet, but. We seem like it's like a squad and that is improving and getting stronger. And Barnet, give credit to Barnet yesterday because they were 3-1 down. They won 4-3. That's a sign of a team that's going to be there or thereabouts, having that kind of mentality. So yeah, it's exciting. It's just exciting. It's a good feeling. It really is a nice feeling to be in the mix at this stage in the season, even though it's only November, but. Yeah, so it's unusual. Any other points of business, Andy?
Well, only the it was the FA Trophy second round yesterday. So the third round draw is due, I think, on Monday. Is that right when it's taking place? And so there's 64 teams in that competition. So we'll see who we get. It'll be probably a bus stop from somewhere in the lower reaches of non-league, but it's
a Bury in it.
I think they've been knocked out. Let me have a little look. You might have to edit this bit out while I check the teams that are in it.
I think was it Peterborough Sports, Ryan, that we've had in this one before?
Yeah, and was it?
And Hendon.
Hendon, yeah, that was embarrassing.
Yeah, Michelova was that one as well.
Yeah,
we struggled against them, didn't we? I think it was it 3-2 or something.
Yeah, was it go to penalties?
Yeah, I think it did go to penalties, didn't it? Yeah. Was it 3-3 and they went to penalties or something? So yeah, we have really struggled against these teams, haven't we? So, I mean, what would you be using the FA Trophy, Ryan, a bit in a similar way to the National League Cup, and giving your second stringers a run out rather than your first teamers?
Yeah,
this season.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's a chance of Wembley, isn't it? But yeah, I don't know.
It's not going to be top, but it's not going to be up on the list of priorities. I mean, for me, I thought that last season and the season before we should have been having a good go at trying to win that trophy, because I didn't think we were good enough to go up. But winning that might have just been something a bit nice, a trip to Wembley. But this season, I'm not asked. I'd rather get into the third round of the FA Cup and then for the payoff.
Right.
So
have you got a rush? Hang on, have you got a rush?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, no worries.
That disastrous Latics vine, but hey ho,
no worries.
3 more points for the Latics. See you at Wembley.
That's the main thing. Thanks for stepping in.
Cheers. See
you later.
Yeah, just having a look at the teams that are in it. Bury aren't in it. Macclesfield are, I think.
That'd
Radcliffe
be good.
are in it. Yeah.
Macclesfield away would be nice.
Our mate Mark White, Dorking Wanderers got beat by Eastbourne Borough, so they're not in it. Macclesfield won at penalties after drawing 2-2 at Curzon Ashton.
Right.
You look down the list of teams, other than the teams in our league, obviously, which would form decent competition. You look down this list, and there's literally nothing in here to be afraid of. So,
no,
yeah, it's not the priority, is it? But you could use it as a competition to play some of your second stringer players, and we could still have a good go at this.
Yeah, I mean, and that's got to be what this competition's for the bigger teams in this division. Certainly in the earlier rounds, in the same way that the bigger teams in the FA Cup and League Cup, do the same thing, don't they? I mean, there's plenty of players in our team who will have earned a right after, because I've just gone through all the games in November. It's a big month. It's been a big month. Lots of games. In October there was lots of travelling. And the players do need a bit of a breather. It's because you get knocks, don't you, and aches and pains and things like that. And it's not just all about fitness. It can be playing football at that level against some of these guys that are on that. It's a pretty bruising profession. Your body does go through the mill. So hopefully we'll get a home tie and it'd be nice and easy, not having to do much travelling and. Yeah, I'm not. Again, like I said earlier on, it would have been nice to have won it in the last couple of seasons. This season, I'm not asked. Let's go through it and win as many games as we can. And if we do get to the final, great. But I feel like it might be a bit more of a distraction from the main meal this year, which is winning the league. Andy, are you we. Week after week after week, we have to ask the similar kind of questions, really. But can we do it? Can we win the league this season?
Yeah, I think we can. Forest Green, I think, are probably the strongest team in the league. They're the one who, even though we did well, we got a decent result against them at home. I thought they looked pretty good in that game, and they've looked pretty solid everywhere since. They obviously beat York comfortably yesterday, so. They're probably going to be the ones to catch. But like I said, over the last 10 games, we've had a harder opposition and we've matched them for points. So I think we're on, the underlying story is good. I definitely think we can win it. So like our prediction at the start of the season of, did I say 4th? You said 5th? Was it that way around? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think probably we undercooked it a bit. Second or third is achievable. First it's there for the taking. We'd have to go on a good run and have a little bit of luck. But you never know, do you? You never know.
No. We're in contention. We are very much in contention, and you've just got to keep in contention. And in this division, it means winning virtually every game, and not losing against those around us. Because we're starting to see that level of consistency from likes of Forest Green and York and Barnet. So we've got to keep in the mix. But they'll be all eyeing us up and saying Oldham are contenders here.
Yeah, it's funny though. It's funny because we're not like, if you look at the bookies, we're not the favourites. Some way off it. If you read anyone's commentary on who they think are the best team in the league, I think Hartlepool's manager last week's Lenny Lawrence, who's been around like, oh, York are going to win it, and you read other commentary and it's Forest Green or Barnet. No one talks about us going to win it, which I kind of like at the minute. Because it just allows us to get on with it.
We put 20 quid on it. We were 18-1 last week on William Hill. We put 20 quid on it. Like, we'll take that.
Yeah. So exactly the same. Exactly the same. I've got 20 quid. I only got 16s, unfortunately, but I've had I got 20 quid as well, because it's definitely in with a shout. I'll tell you the other thing for me is, I think Mickey Mellon will be worth 3 to 5 extra points as well over this period, because I think he's going to have the nous to manage us through it. So, Ryan just made the point about us having some squad players to come back, and that might help us when it gets a bit busy if we've got a bigger squad than some of the teams around us, for sure. But I think Mickey's he'll have a little bit of nous about how to get us through it. And, he'll if he uses the FA trophy, as we've just described, in a manner, and we have a little go at Leyton Orient, see if we can get some money out of a third round tie. We're obviously not going to go very far in the FA Cup, are we? It'll be a round or two, and that'll be it. So, if you use the FA trophy wisely, then we could, get a bit of momentum going in the cups as well. Winning breeds winning, doesn't it? So, I think Mickey will be an advantage to us over, our competitions managers who possibly don't have the experience when it gets right down to the nitty gritty at the end.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the value of Mellon's experience in how quickly he's turned it around. He came in last season, he couldn't do much by his own admission. But he looked at the squad that he had. His overriding assessment was we finished 10th because we weren't good enough. We didn't have good enough players to do what he wanted them to do, and he's turned that around very, very quickly. He's all right. I mean, he's still he had some quality in his squad already. He had a good goalkeeper. He had Raglan. Will Sutton was already there. James Norwood was there. Fondop was. There were players who have done really well for us this season in the squad already. But he identified where he needed to bring in extra quality, and he's made some absolutely cracking signings. And he's turned it around in a really, really short space of time. And even this season, even when we weren't winning and we were picking up points, we weren't getting beat. I mean, to get to this, when was I don't know when. Someone might be able to help us out on social media, but when was the last time we got to this stage of the season and only got beat twice?
Yeah,
people say, "Oh yeah, well we've drawn too many." Yeah, well, yeah, okay, but really, when you look at the points we've amassed now, and from the mentality, it's that thing about not hating getting beat, and even with the cup, I think that's the thing. If we can beat Leyton Orient, and I think we can. It's a cup game, anything. We could end up going there and remember when we went there last time we played them in the league, we got beat 3-0, didn't we? Under Abdallah, we got murdered. But 4-0, was it? We could go there. We could go there again, and the same thing could happen. But also with the way that we're playing, we could give them a really good game, and it's just little rewards like getting into the third round draw. And I just feel like we deserve it. I mean, you don't get what you deserve all the time, but the club deserve, the owners deserve a payday. They deserve something that's going to significantly help bankroll this season. The fans, the manager, the players, we all deserve it. We all deserve those moments to get something special in the FA Cup. And because that feeling of togetherness is really starting to come together, and it's really helping move things forward, because there isn't the bickering, there isn't the like Ryan made that the point about that guy. You're always going to get the odd one, but I think everybody's on board now. Apart from obviously our wine guzzling Groton resident is still having little tantrums on social media, but that's just because he's not involved. It's just pure bitterness. But everybody's on board. I mean, you'd have to be some kind of proper Scrooge coming up to Christmas to be on board and excited about where we're at now.
Yeah, and being involved in some of the atmospheres on the terrace is great. Next week at Rochdale is going to be great. Looking forward to it. It's always good atmosphere at Rochdale. But even at Leyton Orient, because it's the FA Cup, I think they have to give you slightly more seats or more of the attendance than you would in a league game. So we're actually behind the goal. So when I've been to Leyton Orient in recent years, you've been sat at the side in that old seated, rickety old stand. We've actually given us one end behind the goal. So if we take a decent number to Leyton Orient, we could make a decent racket there as well, which would be good. So yeah, if you haven't been for a while and you're listening to this, get on board. It's good. It's good at the minute. The atmosphere's great. It's buzzing. We're playing well. This is a team to get behind.
Yeah, definitely. And we need fans to turn out to the league games, and there's a lot of travelling down south. And Gaz made the point on the podcast the other week that he's gutted that it was another London trip, which I understand. But it's a good club, Leyton Orient. They were brilliant at backing us when we needed them back in the day, and it'd be nice to take a good follow in there and try and cheer us into the third round, because the financial gains of that cannot be underestimated. If we get a plump draw and we end up on TV and we get cash, great cash off the gates, it could be really significant for the club. So I know that, a good, noisy backing down at Leyton Orient will make a difference to the players, and, fingers crossed we'll end the month on a high and get into that third round draw. But it is all about, the league, but the cup, we know as a club what the cup can do for us. Like, it kept us in business when, Dickoff and Corney era, didn't it? So let's keep our fingers crossed. But the first thing is, and it will be like a cup tie next week, Andy, again in the derby against Rochdale. Absolutely brilliant. Can't wait for that. So we'll be on Wednesday for the phone in. So give us a shout if you want to get involved. And I'll see you. Well, I'll try and see you next week, Andy, at Rochdale.
Yeah. I'll see if I can grab you for a pint afterwards if we're hanging about. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, I'll be around. Yeah. Nice
all right,
one.
mate.
All right, mate.
Nice
Thanks a lot, Andy.
See ya.
See you later. And we'll see you all for the phone in, then the aftermath of the derby against Rochdale. Thanks for listening. See you later. Hey, Dave, it's nearly Christmas.
Is it?
Yeah, well, nearly. We're having our Quizmas party on the 15th of December at Billington.
What time?
5 o'clock.
Till late.
Ooh, till you finish partying. Dave, you're doing a quiz.
Yes, I am, yeah. But not any quiz. It's a very, very special Quizmasy quiz.
Yeah.
So join us at Billington's in Oldham.
For a Quizmas party like no other. We're going to have musical entertainment from Latics songsmith D.D. Smith.
And also we're going to have the board as a quiz team, including Darren, Luke, Sue and Jimmy.
Oh, we'll beat them. I'm not playing. You'll beat them a piece of piss.
And there's a £200 cash prize.
Ooh.
And special prizes to be won.
And if you buy a ticket in November, it's 4 for the price of 3. Just use the coupon code
443quiz.
Just visit weareoldham.co.uk/shop now to buy your ticket.
Get them now before they fly away like Rudolph on his sleigh.